What's up, everybody out there? Rockin' Dave, Southwest Florida, North Fort Myers, Florida. Thank you for tuning in. It is Saturday afternoon. Saturdays. I gotta watch what I say because FCC and everyone else might come out of the woodwork and shut me down. We hope not, right? Well, thank you so much for tuning in, my friends. Looks like we got 3 people on. No, one of them is not me. um, just kicking back a little bit here. I got my New York Life water cup here. I got my Allure Knowledge Meets Experience Insurance Company. Of course, everything's backwards, right? So I should put a mirror. Mr. Bruce said he puts a mirror up there. Brilliant. A little taste of that, my friends. So, very interesting week we've had. Oh, that little tune right there, I literally, about maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, I would say about a half hour ago, just looped it into my loop pedal with the Digitech. I lost my pick there. It drops. It drops and it bounces, right? So you think if you drop something being in Siri, it's like it's in the next room down the hall. Let's see what got. Mr. Ben Coombs, what's happening? Little David Ennis, what's Ennis? What's happening, my friends? R2R3 Locking Nut. What's up, brother? My brother from Chicago, from Schaumburg, Illinois. There it is. See the pic fell over here. There's no alligators in Schaumburg. Yeah, that video we took, it was just before we went into the show to see Circus Soleil, and the tickets were available. And I didn't realize part of the cast members came out to the gig at in Cape Coral at the nice fancy restaurant La Corte. It was back in Thanksgiving. So this is how strange everything is down here. For me, Thanksgiving, it's kind of cool outside. Sometimes it's cold. Sometimes there's snow. Definitely, sometimes there's no leaves on the trees. But down here, it was our first Thanksgiving down here, our first Christmas, and it's like a never-ending summer down here. It's so hard to get used to this. It's in a good way. So the cast members, it was back in that was back in November. And it wasn't all the cast members, but it was a good portion of them were there. And I'm pretty sure the girl that was skating and then was twirling from the rope, she was there. And the guy that was also twirling from the rope, where I was sitting at, I was like in an area like this, and they had some benches, and they were literally sitting right there talking to me. Yeah, I mean, they're just a lot of young kids, They're in with a production company. It's exciting for them, and wow, you guys, it's called Crystal. I mean, I'm not into, I shouldn't say I'm not into plays and stuff like that. Just that being a musician, we're always gigging. So, it was interesting seeing this because I really respect any type of an act that you have to really push yourself. And it's kind of similar to what I would see at the Bristol Renaissance Fair when I was playing up there. Because they had a married couple that would do the tightrope act, and one guy would spin, twirl fire and things of that nature, and then I'd be talking with the cast backstage because I was, part of the cast. Except I was a solo musician, but I had access to the entire backstage. So it was a great experience. So I really appreciate when people have these extraordinary talents and skills. I mean, just the amount of hours it takes. So we ran into those guys back in November, and I remember they were saying something about their next show is going to be a surprise and that. And I think we saw the opening act, at least down here in Florida. So it takes that long of a time to put that production together. Anything with acrobats, you are rehearsing, you are training, you are constantly on the go. So. And it's interesting. A lot of those are paid positions, obviously, because how much they get paid, I really don't know. But that's that's up for them to reveal. But it's definitely a paid position, and a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work that's involved. Take care of yourself. Take care of your health, because obviously it's more than just throwing a guitar around, But I get a lot of my energy from seeing stuff like that. But yeah, this track that I opened up with, literally I recorded it with my Digitech. Now this is my older one, but it's the new version. So the new one I got is the older version, and we've got 4 of these pedals. because the situation with Digitech, we don't know what's going on. And this is essentially my band in the box. I do have my backup system, which is my little Tascam. If you guys don't mind, I think I'll go and bring that over, show you what do I use for backing tracks. Okay, hold on 1 second, guys. Don't go away, okay? It's not a potty break. Okay, guys. So, we being computer literate as I am, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs asked my advice, and I told them what I thought. I'm the guy that still thinks the beta is going to take over the world. You do know what a beta is, right? A top load beta. So, I'm sure, there's many versions of these. This is like the first version, the Tascam DR07 digital recorder. So, I want you guys to see something on the side here. Anyone that's old school sees exactly what they could do with this. Plus, you do have a mic input, right? But I'm going to tell you something. There's something really special and unique with this line input. You can do a lot of things with it. But I could feed out stereo into the house system, or our PA system, any of our tracks. When we would do wedding gigs and DJ them, we have two of these. So we have our, everything on the laptop that we would need, but most importantly, everything is on these things. So I literally seen this happen at a wedding of the DJ just before he's getting ready to start his the dinner music and the announcements. We did the ceremony and the cocktail hour, and thank God we did that, because that gave this guy some buy time to figure out what was going on with his computer, but he had no backup system, none at all. This is our backup system, and it never fails. You make sure you have plenty of AA batteries, because I don't have the adapter with this, and you get a pretty long time out of this. And you're good to go. That in conjunction with the foot switches, this is why I could do tracks live right on the fly. And this will do internal recording as well as SD card, and you could go back and forth on the fly. And me personally, as a person that's so computer illiterate, I'm old school. This works, and I don't worry so much about 90 megahertz, 96 kilohertz. If it hurts, it hurts, right? I don't really worry so much about that, and I'm not saying I don't care about tone and things of that nature. Of course I do. But when you're doing a lot of gigs and a lot of live shows and performances, you have to think practicality. Can you get the job done? Do I have a backup system in case something happens? Then I don't have to rely on Wi-Fi or anything like that. Because in my mind, everyone who's at that gig, most, watching the performance, is hardworking people. And, I'm not saying hardworking people don't know about this stuff. Of course they do, but they want to be entertained, and rightfully so. It's their money, entertain them. So, yeah. But literally, with my Digitech RP360, I got that nice big knob there. I could turn on and off my drums with my foot, go back and forth with my programs. I tell people, if you buy anything like this, get the foot switch, this thing. Because I could go up and down my parameters, my patches, and then the foot switches that are on the unit, I could turn on and off my effects. So, that's a good feature. So, anyways, I wanted to touch on the topic of, and I'm going to do a little jamming too. Sometimes I get blabbing here. Expect the unexpected. And sometimes the unexpected is a good thing. We'll talk on some of the stuff that's not so good. But this is why you always have to have that backup system. Always have that nice financial nest egg, something that's dedicated to your music, to your travels. Try not to spend it. And I know that this is not a real expensive guitar, but I like it, and when we bought our Gibson Les Paul, we got it on a killer deal back in January 2014. It's a 2013 model. So we got a killer deal right from the Gibson factory, shipped to Guitar Center in Naperville, Illinois. Knew the manager there, the manager and the sales gal. She says, yeah, let's put aside for Dave, because he's been a good guy, he's a good customer. Doesn't try to say, oh, could you bring the price down, we understand, excuse me, we understand everyone has to make money. But you know, out of all of your equipment, guys and gals, all of your equipment out there, I'm talking with the guitars, the amps, the pedals, tubes for the amps. There's another piece of gear for your music that is, man, you got to take care of. It is the most important piece of gear. Mr. Joe Wentz, what's happening, my friend? Great seeing you. Oh, dude, you totally rock, Joe. And R2, R3, and Ben Coombs, everyone out there, thanks for tuning in. Um, but the one piece of gear that is probably the most essential, I mean, and it's very expensive, this piece of gear, okay? And it is the most essential piece of gear for a gigging, touring, traveling musician is your vehicle, your car. If you do not maintenance, you don't take care of it, don't make sure you got the money aside for that, you are going to be hit blindsided, and I don't mean in an accident. I mean in just thinking that, okay, holy crap, you know, I got a show, I got to travel, you know, 1,300 miles, and all of a sudden, in the middle of that 1,300-mile trip, something's smoking, something's breaking down. You forgot to change the oil, or you forgot to, you know, maintenance, rotate the tire, do whatever you needed to do. Now, this is something that Deb has always been adamant about, always taking care of those vehicles. So, and our older Toyota RAV we got a 2011, and then Deb just November bought a 2018 Toyota RAV. The ones we use for our shows, it's got over 100,000 miles, and we did all over cross country with that car, as well as our Dodge Neon. We've been doing the road shows for, I don't know, maybe 18 years, 20 years, something like that. Because we started just right as our band was phasing out. We got married in 1999, and I was gigging then. And it was constant, go, 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 you know. So, we had to, you know, get our car maintenance, which everyone has to do. And then there was something else going on with the ball bearing in the front tire, which we would hear in our front wheel, and that was an extra expense that we had to fix. And Deb says, "Don't go ahead, get it fixed, take care of it." So it's nothing bad at all. It's something that we're always prepared for it, but it's an extra expense. Now, we just earlier this week got our kitchen floor done, and that took about 2 days because we had to fix part of the subfloor, and then we had to replace our door. Because the hinges on we got like louvers, you could open up the door, that thing was busted, and the guy said there's only one place that has them, down in Fort Myers, like by downtown Fort Myers. And I'm looking at this thing. All right, by the time we go through all that, how much is this to replace the door? Cheaper to replace the door, or maybe a little more expensive than to replace the door? Just go replace the door. Now, Mr. Ed Dana had a video up on, I think his wife painted the kitchen counter cabinets, and that's something we're going to be working on doing. You know, little by little. You own a house, you're going to be maintenance in it. So this is the reality. So these are, yeah. Oh, Miss Assembly, I'm a truck. Oh, Mr. Joe. Oh yeah. Hey, Mr. Ed Dana, we're just talking about you, and it's all good, my friend. When you showing that video on your kitchen cabinets and that's going to be part of our next project. I think our next major project is, yeah, right? How about it, Ed? See, Ed's a good guy right there, man. He gets it. I'm sure all you guys get it, so I'm not trying to eliminate anybody. But, you know, you own your house. You got to do maintenance on it. You got to do work on it. You know, if you cannot find someone reliable, you do it yourself. Some of us, and you know, it's interesting, Ed, I think Ed made a comment that there are a lot of musicians, you're either maybe like some people driving a truck, or, you know, driving a school bus or whatever, any type of vehicle to supplement that income, or you've worked construction. Well, we've worked construction, and you know, I do the school bus. Mr. Johnny Bean, good morning, my friend. Did you get much sleep last night? Well, see, you're in California, so I think you're back of quite a few hours. You know, I don't know where Dave Nesdahl lives, or Steve Anderson, or some of the other guys. But yeah, I was on a little bit, and then I just got tired. You know. You're renovated. Oh yeah, and so the Rove. Yeah, yeah. Any type of construction. Oh, it's 10:20 a.m. here. Okay, you're in California, right, sir? I'm pretty sure you are. Um, yeah, it's so my point I'm trying to make with all this is that yes, in California, yep, I've always wanted to go to California. You know, back in 1981, I graduated in 81. There was several schools, music schools I was going to go to, and the one was going to be Guitar Institute. I remember mailing in for all the information and looking over everything and all that. And then there was Roosevelt University downtown Chicago. Dry Heat 480, what's happening, my friend? Good seeing you. Good seeing you, buddy. And anyways, I was going to go to California to go check out Musicians Institute. And the only thing that stopped me from going to any music college at all was a conversation my grandfather had with me. And, okay, so think about it. It's 1981, and I started playing in 1974. So you know how close 1974 is to 1969? You know what I mean? With the hippies and, all that. And my grandfather, a very strong conservative. Jim Geachet, how are you, my friend? Great seeing you, buddy. So it was very strong conservative, okay? So just think about it. We didn't have car commercials that would play a Led Zeppelin song, right? Or especially a Cadillac commercial or any other song like that, it was conservative, So, but this how it was in the conservative world, my friends, right? Okay. But I thank God for the conversation my grandfather had with me about practicality. He told me, you already know how to play, okay? If that's what you want, because I was also going to join the service. I was going to join the Army. I just let my friends talk me out of it, not because of the haircut or anything, because I used to go to Addison Rocks, downtown Chicago, and just sit there and do jam sessions with my friends. So I had the feeling of coming and going as I pleased. So I let my friends talk me out of joining because they said, well, you won't be able to come and go as you please. You know that, Dave? And I'm like, oh. And it sank in my head, and then I never joined. I signed up for the selective service like I was supposed to. Michael B., what's happening, buddy? Great seeing you, my friend. Great seeing all of you. But the conversation my grandfather had with me was, it's nice if you want to go to a music school, okay? But keep one thing in mind, okay? You already know how to play. If you don't get a grant or scholarship or free money or whatever they do, you got to take out a loan. And loans usually, you cannot, I forbid. Hey, Mr. Joe Wins, thank you so much. Thank you, I really appreciate it, Joe. I just like to share the knowledge and experience that I've gone through. Trust me, I'm not the smartest or brightest light bulb in the socket. I'm not the greatest guitar player that's ever lived. I just do what I do, But the experiences I had, this is what I've gone through. And I know I cannot possibly be the only person in the entire universe that's ever gone through this. There's something wrong. So, this is what was going on. The advice my grandfather told me, he said, if you cannot get a scholarship, you have to take out a student loan, and you cannot, God forbid, bankrupt on a student loan if something were to happen. So then he said, and I wasn't really paying too much attention about that aspect of what he was saying, but what really hit me hard was when he said, what you need to do, Adam EVH, what's happening, Adam? Great seeing you, buddy. Totally awesome. Great seeing you. Okay, before I go on a tangent, because I have a tendency to do that, my friends. But what my grandfather said, ask the schools, what is the job placement program? And then, more importantly, that I could easily do, is we'd get the Chicago Tribune or the Sun-Times paper, or we used to have the Chicago Daily News, but that's a long time ago and that fell apart. And I do remember that paper. But anyways, look at the want ads. And he said to me, now look and see how many jobs are asking for a guitar player. So I did that. I'm looking, I don't see any. I see plumbers, I see HVAC, I see electricians, I see accountings, computer, Lotus 1, 2, and 3, and all this other stuff. Which my wife Deb is in the corner. She's in her little office laughing because she knows all this. And a lot of you people know all this too. Lotus 1, 2, 3, must have experience in, All of these all of these jobs available. You know, the one job I didn't see, and I was watching this over a course of time, especially in the Sunday paper. No guitar players. So I started thinking about this. Okay, I have to pay back the student loan, and let's say, and this just makes sense, guys. Okay, because if you want to do something and then make money with that craft, you know, first and foremost, this is very enjoyable. I love it. And then a lot of people say, hey, wouldn't it be cool to be able to do a job that you love to do? You know what you do is, if you do what you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? So, but there's only one problem with this. It is a want and not a need, and it's saturated. And I am not trying to discourage anybody. You go out there, you give it your all, right? But that stayed in my mind because the one thing I kept seeing over and over and over again in the want ads is there's no guitar players wanted, you know? And then I would hear stories about painters. You know, I'm not talking about artists that paint. I'm talking about painters that slap on, from the wall. There's a kitchen wall. It's either white or yellow. Always have it yellow walls back in the 70s, And they make all this money. And then I'm thinking to myself, just something doesn't make sense in my little puny mind. But see, over the course of time, things started to add up. And a lot of you guys will remember how things were in the 80s. You'd make the demo tape, you send a demo tape out, you might get signed on to a record contract, an independent record contract at that. And we were all kind of, naive, and I was naive and stupid. That's what it was. I'm not going to say that about anybody out there. That was me, okay? Excuse me, guys. I always got to take a little drink of the coffee drink, right? Anyways, so we're young, we're gullible, we're going to take the world by the balls, and we're going to just, seek, and we're going to conquer, because we learned how to two-hand tap. Everyone's going to fall to their knees. We're just going to plow right through. We're going to make millions. Everyone's going to love us, We're going to have our own plane, let alone our own tour bus and everything. Of course, none of that comes true, because the other aspect of it is cash, money, right? So, what happened was I started thinking things out, and then, you have to do jobs and to help support and supplement your income. And I think it's a great thing. Anyone that needs to do this, go for it, because you have to live. There's one thing that is guaranteed. Every month you get bills. No one's exempt from that, right? But my point of the expect the unexpected, then with the bills, time goes by. I graduated high school 17. Now it's 2018. This year I'll be 55. So maybe I'll incorporate that song, I Can't Drive 55, and maybe we'll call it I Can't Believe I'm 55. It's a great time to be alive, But you do have to think of variables that happens. Maintenance on your vehicle before you go do a tour. Another thing that you got to expect the unexpected is when you could go from one side of the state to the other, you have these time zone changes. And if you're not careful, and so nice in your comfort zone, you're driving, you didn't set the clock on your car or your watch. I know now we got it on our phones, and we got it our phones, we use it for GPS, and that'll automatically change. But let's go back a few years before we had that. The old map, bring out the old map book, and you look at the map with the magnifying glass, Sometimes we burn ants when we were kids with the magnifying glass, doing stupid things. He's running to Nashville in the 80s, becoming famous. Every single one came back. Broke. Yes, Ed. My God. Ed Dana. Perfect example. I've had people ask me, Dave, why don't you go to this part of the state? Why don't you go here? Okay, so let's say you got 5 main music places, and the 5th one is like down the toilet. Okay, so everyone goes to California, right? LA, Austin, Texas, huge, right? Nashville, huge, right? New York, huge, and then Chicago. But I love Chicago; it's my home. But it's you hear the toilet flushing like in All in the Family. Archie Bunker flushing the toilet. Unfortunately. But here's the problem. There's a band out there called Oh my God, what are they called? That band that travels, Deb.
What?
Remember the band that travels? They're the instrumental band. What was their name?
Oh, they're still doing it?
I think they're still doing it.
I don't
I
know. I
can't
know who you're
remember.
talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's an instrumental fusion type of band. Young kids. Um, they had a good point. They'll go to areas where it's not so populated. Because this way competition is not as stiff. And then here's another thing: some of these places they won't let you get into play. You could call and say, "Yeah, I'm a few months out. I'm going to call and see if we get the gig." But then by the time you get to that place, they could change ownership, and then now it's under new management. Or someone else is taking the bookings, or someone could say, "I forgot, I double booked." And you waste this time driving to the place. Now you can't play, you can't make any money. So you really have to look at those variables. But that's good that you brought that up, Ed, because a lot of people they'll rush to what is perceived as the make it spot. Well, don't you think how many people have done the same thing? And it's kind of saturated. Now, again, I'm not saying don't try it. I'm saying just keep that in mind. Keep it in mind that you could go to already a saturated area that they've heard the same song and dance. You know, everyone's gonna come in and take over the world, and they're gonna be the greatest thing ever. And here's another thing to consider. Like in Nashville, I had a couple people tell me this, and read articles about it, and then would see stuff on YouTube about it. A lot of those musicians, a lot of the studio musicians, some of them are, I mean, they're all great players, right? So some of them, they've been doing that for 50 years, and they're still very active, right? Absolute mayhem. What's happening, my friend? I always want to say hi to all my friends out there. And this is not saying anything bad about anybody, but this might make sense. You're the new cat in town. You want to break into the studio session. First of all, it's good to know how to read music or read chord charts, but actual notation. Now, I could read notation. I'm not just real fast, but if I had to practice for it, I know I could do it. You go through all that, and then sometimes the guys don't really let you in. Or what is it? Hitting. Right. Ed got a good point. What makes them? They were not. I got to reread that again. Ed, I'm sorry, I'm not really a fast reader in that, but I understand what you're saying. If you can't make it in one area, you might be able to make it in another area. You have to do a lot of the research. You got to do the research, and when you get to that new spot, you got to hit it hard. You got to hit it hard. At the end of this month, I'll do a special. It'll be on the Saturday. I'll do our 1 year anniversary of relocating down here, and actually on that day, we will be doing our 150th show down here, and it's all about hitting it hard. We did not come down here to sit back in a hammock with a margarita drink in our hand. We came down here to relocate. We're still in our prime working years. We gotta work. We, you know, she's been by the beach that's by us to watch the sunset, but it's not like we haven't been to the beach since we got down here together to enjoy things. Now, last week we were able to do certain things to enjoy things because we just haven't had the time. So, but when areas get saturated, sometimes these people they're not ready to lose their job. A lot of the studio session musicians. So always keep that in mind. Now, again, they might say, okay, we'll give so and so a break. We kind of like them. You know what? You're going to have these factors. Are you a good musician? Okay, that's obviously important. Are you a likable person? That is just as important as being a good musician. Third, are you a good enough musician that we like your personality, that you are easy for us to kind of guide? And what I mean by guide, Dan Sullivan, how's it going, buddy? I'm going to say this in a very kind way because I understand. Guide meaning, can they kind of oversee you? Can they micromanage you? Let's put it that way. Because they'll do that. Because they always understand it's their town. You're new. And they're not ready to get rid of their jobs. They're not ready to quit their job. You're asking them, some of these people, you know what you're asking? You're asking, hey, do you mind stepping aside because I like to take over your job. In essence, in a little way, you're kind of asking that. That's what basically the bottom line it's going to come down to. When you go from a fan to a musician, you're also going from a fan to their competitor. You know, that's life. Not saying anything bad about it. It's just a fact. Now, there's other things to be prepared for. Expect the unexpected. Now, okay, drink black coffee doesn't take. Yeah, I don't. Ed Sullivan. I've never drank any alcohol. I tasted it, but it was my preference, and it's more on a personal level why I do not drink any alcohol. Never been drunk. Never had a hangover. Don't want it. I've had people tell me that they, you don't understand, Dave. I grew up in an alcoholic family. I can't help it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, because I grew up in the same situation. Are you strong here? Do you have strong willpower? I'm telling you, you could break the cycle. You definitely can. You definitely can. Keep in mind, you might get made fun of. You might get put down. You stay strong. Don't let no one hold you back in life. So, but anyways, always be prepared for the most. Sonia, how are you? Good seeing you. Always remember, out of all the pieces of gear, the guitar, the strings, the amps, the pedals, adapters, if you got tube amps, extra tubes, the most important part of your piece of gear as a gigging, traveling, touring musician is your vehicle. You got to maintain it, and we all know how expensive that is, especially if you got a newer car. There's no more you go and get, take it apart with a spark plug. Now it's got to go up on the lift and then it's hook up to a computer, and it's expensive. So you always have to have that money aside for that. As we get older, think about your health. Anything could go wrong. And I'm not trying to be a downer here, but it is kind of important to see what and kind of know what your family history is, because cancers run in people's family. It ran in my family, so and that's another subject for another time. That's how I lost my sister to cancer. So that was a few years back, and you got to be prepared for things. Everything costs money. Now, another good thing about expect the unexpected is, I don't know how many of you out there have done corporate gigs or hired on to do background music, and the perception is, I've had friends of mine tell me, Dave, you're playing. They get on Facebook, Dave, you're playing. No one's paying attention. They're not even clapping, blah, blah, blah. Well, I've had situations where I would be playing, and yeah, it looks like no one cares, right? And even if we didn't have the tip jar out. I've had people, I lost track of count how many times I got tipped $100 bills in conjunction with all my other tips, in conjunction with my pay. And I mean, I'd walk out of there with, crap load of money. And it'd be for like maybe 4 hours. Then they'll say, hey, we like him, we got an extra hour. Do you mind if he stays an extra hour? That would give him the price. Oh yeah, no problem. There's a couple times we would come in, we'd get the bid and come in just a little under what their budget was. We'd match their budget, right? And what we would do is we take what would be considered Dana, I love tips. Yeah, tips are great. We come down what would be perceived a little bit below our asking price, but at the end, because we worked with their budget and we were friendly, we were on time, we didn't take anything personal. Next thing we got tipped, and next thing right from that gig we got all these other gigs. And that's one way of networking that you always will have a steady source of income. Sometimes we would do, and it's all unexpected, those tips. That's a wonderful expect the unexpected, because these people will like what you're doing. You're easy to work with. I'll tell you what, guys, and in my experience, that right there is so crucial, to be easy to work with, because when you do a corporate gig, you're kind of hired to do something for background. It's for their event, and these people have money and they'll pay. And the fact of the matter is that they'll be your referral. I don't know how many times we've done stuff for ExxonMobil, in a row, years in a row, and we were like their regular. So we work with them. You know, what you do when you get quantity, you work more with the budget so they can afford, because they're giving you work. So it works out by being fair, and we still come out ahead with the tips, and it's unexpected, pleasant, you know. So the best thing to do, I think, is when you go in on any type of a gig, expect maybe that you might not come out making a whole lot of money. And what I mean by this is, back in Naperville, Illinois, they would have Rib Fest. Of course, a lot of places would have a Rib Fest. And at the end of summer, a thing called the Last Flame. And one of my guitar students, her dad was managing a local cover band. And he's asking me these questions and saying to me, Dave, what should I expect? Should I expect 200, 300, 400? And I told him, I says, you know what? Expect the least amount of money. He says, like, what do you mean expect the least amount of money? Look at all the people that's coming in there. I says, yeah. I said, but a lot of times they'll have that money aside for the touring acts at these festivals. And then they have to pay for the emergency, the paramedics. They got to get paid. The porta potties got to get paid. You got to get a license. You got to have insurance. And all the other little variables that fall into play on just doing a festival. So I told him this. I said, so the band that you're managing, I said, here's what I suggest. Ask them if they have any merchandise to sell, t-shirts or a CD. And as soon as I mentioned about a CD, they were like, oh, well, they can't write their own music. I'm like, oh. Because everyone's following, we got to do covers. We have to do covers. No one's going to like us if we don't do covers. Why don't you take a chance? Always, try to take that chance. And this is another subject, kind of, off a side note here. Don't worry about if a person tells you you have to write a song a certain way. If you like it and you got other people liking it, that's telling you something right there. Because I'm going to tell you something, guys. I don't care what type of class you take in songwriting. It's an opinion. And you get some people are going to like it, some people are not going to like it. So, to me, it only makes sense if I'm going to do anything that's opinionated. I'd rather not spend money to ask someone if they like it or not, or to learn how to do it when, I got my fingers, I could make my notes here, I like it. Maybe it's not the best in the world, maybe a lot of people out there hate it, but that's fine, I don't take it personal. But I know that I'm going to have people out there liking it, because so many times we would sell our CDs at shows. I would do the, CD signing and the greet and meet and all that, and we were not even a signed artist. So we would have people come up that would like us, and then we'd have some people that didn't like it. That's life. So I told them, I said, so, if you guys don't have any merchandise to sell, I tell them, then expect very little pay. Because if you expect very little pay, you might be pleasantly surprised with what you get, as opposed to thinking that I should get about between $800 and $900 or $800 and $1,000, and I should get this and I should get that, and then you get there and you walk away with maybe $200 to split against 4 guys. That's 4 band members. But if you're booking and you're making the phone calls and you're spending the money, let's say that you are putting up ads for them, you may think that I should get paid for my efforts, and you'd be absolutely right. So now it's no more just splitting $200 between 4 people. Now you got that 5th member. That's the guy that made the phone call to get you the gig in the first place. So, it as unfair as it might sound, you got to expect these things. So what happened was they did the gig, and they didn't get that much. I think they got $200. That's how he come up with that number, because the following week when I was teaching his daughter, he was saying how disappointed he was and that. And I told him that week before, don't go in expecting anything great. Just do the gig. Be thankful you got that gig, and see what you can network with it. And if you got merchandise, try to sell that. But he went in thinking that they were supposed to, and they're a cover band. And I'm not trying to rip on cover bands. We're doing covers, right? I want to say something. What's nice about when certain songs we're not allowed to put up on the internet, that to me, I go, oh, this is great, because now we could start working on originals. And again, see if we can, turn a profit, make money off of that, and then share our. Everyone wants to share what they could do with people, Now I'm not saying covers aren't fun; they are fun. They're the songs that's how we kind of learn, And it's nice when you could do your own version of a cover. That's what I really like doing. When I was doing the Guitar Heroes program very strongly, that's where I got the picture from. That was back up in Illinois. We were doing a tribute to all the guitar legends. I didn't really have a whole lot of time to work out every nuance of the guitar solos, because I was working in a project other than my classical guitar project with the corporate gigs. But I was working with this female vocalist doing the Carpenters music, doing the 50s and 60s. Our cat is playing with his toy. Sorry about that, guys. And then, there's only 24 hours a day, plus I was still doing the Bristol Renaissance Fair. So I had all these styles of music, rattling in my mind, So I really did not have the time to sit there and work on every single thing. But I would think, okay, a lot of these guys, when they do their shows, they're not going to play their own music note for note. They're going to expand on it, and that's fine. And I actually like that. So I always thought, well, when I'm doing these songs, to avoid a catastrophe of me trying to remember every little nuance of every little song that's ever been written down to the last tone, you know what I mean? It gets kind of ridiculous after a while. It's like, okay, you're going to always, as a performer, you will always, at that moment, revert back to something that is the most comfortable for you to play, so you could get through this transition and make it sound smooth. Mr. Tim, how are you? Yeah, there are a few that could do covers. What's happening is that the industry's in the toilet. Everyone, see, this is the result of everybody wanting free music. I want free this. Everything should be free, 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 free. Yep. Someone's got to pay for it. So then they start watching, and it's better to do originals. Yeah. I'm sorry, YouTube can. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. If you could do a cover better than the original, absolutely. But some people, they don't want their music up on. They do not want their music up on YouTube or the internet, and they'll come after you. And really, it is theirs. It is their music. It's like, I always use this because I'm sure you guys have this situation happen to you. You're playing in a club, like expect the unexpected, right? Which this is to be expected. Dude, could you play Freebird? Remember when Slayer was back in Japan in 1985 and they played Freebird? And they had so-and-so as a guest singer. Could you do that version? What the hell are you talking about? I can't even remember I can't remember everything. Some people can, that's great. Some people can't. But anyways, so what I would do is I would try to play what would fit in that chord progression to get through the song, because when you're playing in a band with a vocalist, really the vocalist is primary, guitar solos is secondary, So that is most important. So on my other channel, you'll see when I did Motorcycle Sunday back at Phillips Park in Aurora, Illinois, 2016. I opened up with an instrumental version of Ozzy Osbourne's Over the Mountain. Hey, Guitar Hack, what's happening? You playing in a cover band? Okay, I'm going to see if I can pull this up, guys. See? There we go. Uh-huh. See, got a gig tonight for solos. I'll play the signature licks only. You've nailed it. That's exactly what I do. I focus on those signature licks, the ones that are going to be the absolute most memorable. And if something happens, and it does happen to me, I might have a brain fart. I'll play something that's comparable, as close as possible, but that's going to fit the chord progression and a little bit the melodic structure, or the rhythm. Because there's nothing worse than you trying to do the solo exact and it's horrible, And it's happened to me, so I'm not trying to rip on anybody. I'll rip on myself before I ever rip on anybody else. I don't think that's fair. But anyways, um, so I was, the video that you'll see on my other channel, me opening up and playing Over the Mountain, the guitar solo is not the exact from what Randy Rhoads did. Because there's certain things I forgot to do, and I didn't have enough time to go over that, because that whole week I was playing the Carpenters music with our shows that we were, was help paying our bills. So you have to kind of delegate your time out and focus on, okay, if I can't get this right, at least I can make this fit as close as possible. And I know the die-hard fans are going to say, you didn't play the solo exactly right. You're not as good as Randy Rhoads. You're absolutely right. I suck ass. I can't do anything. And just, let them do what they want to do. Remember, you're the one on the stage. The complainer is not, right? And when they get on stage, then all of a sudden, everything you've told them about the variables, about the heat, on that gig, on it was May 1st, 2016, we, it was very cold, and there was a lot of rain and dew. So by the time I got on stage, you'll see the reflection of my gym shoes. All that was moisture. So as I'm playing, I'm trying to get into it. I got to be careful I don't slip and fall, Things happen. And then the guitar was going out of tune, because now down here you got the humidity. Up there it was cold. You can't win. You can't win. I live in the real world. So, but I try to make the best of it. That's all you could do, Thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you very, very much. With the thumbs up. And when I started doing all this down here, and I'm still new to the platform on YouTube, having my own show and things that nature. I still have a lot that I have to do. I still have to, later on when I can, because we just dropped a whole crap load of money on remodeling our kitchen and then the repairs on our car, So we don't run off and spend money to think, oh crap, now we got to recoup that money. So I still have to buy a dedicated laptop so I could start hosting some of the hangouts and things like that. So we're very careful with spending our money. You have to be, because anything could happen at any time. You gotta be prepared for that. If another person out there or people out there think that they don't need to cover this and that, well, okay, you're young, you got time on your side. But my advice to them is keep this in the back of your mind, because you will not always be doing that show forever. Another thing that we get down here is slow season. So some of our shows get cut back. As opposed to doing them every week, we'll do them every other week. Because it's so hot down here, busy season won't pick up again until about maybe the end of September, October. Hopefully we do not have a bad hurricane season this year. So you have to be really smart and forecast everything out so that you're not hit blindsided and shocked, No one wants that. So, what we do is we put that money aside, and we try to do the best we can, and we keep moving forward. But with the covers, I try to get into the main structure of the song, the melody, and everything else as time goes on. If we're going to be playing that song, well then later on, as time sees it fitting for me, then I start getting better and better at maybe those exact solos, and then I'll go out and do them, and it's a win-win. On my other channel, there's also, and this was about maybe 12 years ago, I'm on my acoustic guitar playing The Flight of the Bumblebee, and it's incredibly fast. Now I did an excerpt of it because we had a camera that could only do 3 minutes, and it was recorded me coming out of one of my original songs, which is titled Gulf of Mexico. It's kind of a Latin jazz thing. And then I go into the Flight of the Bumblebee, and then I go into a classical flamenco piece. So, but I'd have to relearn that again, because I haven't played it in a while, because I don't get requests Flight of the Bumblebee that is going to tip me, every person $100 in the tip jar, we got bills to pay too. So I always try to get my songs to sound as good as possible. Sometimes it doesn't always work, because again, you have the variables. And then here's another unexpected piece, is finding out what's going on with Digitech, and everything seems to be laying low. Hey Jim, you take care, buddy. We'll probably see you tonight because we'll do a live stream tonight. Um, so I use the Digitech products a lot because they work for me. They sound great when I have to go direct into the board. Um, that's why I got some backup systems. But if something happens, now what? Oh yeah, everyone see Jose Feliciano's Flight of Bumblebee? Yeah, incredible. There's another guy from Greece that this is an older video. I want to say about 12, 15 years old maybe. Um, type in Flight of the Bumblebee and anyone Guitar Foundation of America. Guitar Foundation of America is an organization strictly for classical guitarists. And yeah, you can see some amazing players there, man. Holy. We're back live again. Again, something happened with the sun and the moon. Original artists only have to know. Yeah, they only have to know their own music. Honestly, guys, a lot needs to be said in a positive way for all the cover bands. And now the tribute bands is one thing because a tribute band, I'm not saying anything bad about them. They have just as much hard work that they have to do because it's the whole show and the whole production. So it's equally as tough. But if you think about it, if it's a canned show like what we had with our vocalists, it was a tribute to the Carpenters because the gal, she had a great voice. But it was a canned show for the Carpenters music. It was that style of music only. And we did add in a couple of other artists that she would cover. And we never have someone could you play Freebird or something? You know, we never had that because the audience knew what kind of show they were going to see. If you're going to see a Beatles tribute band, they know it's going to be Beatles music. A Led Zeppelin tribute band, Zeppelin. Iron Maiden tribute band, Iron Maiden. They know what they're going to get. But the cover bands, they have to know every single song that's ever been written in every key by every artist. You know, this is what people who make these requests, you know, especially if they're drinking. And then, you know, but you don't want to insult anybody, but you're not going to remember everything. And I know every person that plays in a cover band out there, it's got to drive you crazy. Dude, you remember this song? Could you play this? Oh, come on, man. Dude, oh, you suck, dude. You know, you're trying to get through the performance, and you got a heckler there that's, you know, won't shut up. That's when I, you know, flip the guitar left-handed or play Happy Birthday. And I don't mean the Beatles version of Happy Birthday. I mean, let's really get down to Happy Birthday, you know. It's like this, you know. You get the point. But they could sing to that, but not everybody knows the Beatles version. And I'm not saying, because usually you could just do the first riff of the Beatles Happy Birthday, Happy Birthday, and they'll recognize that. But trust me, I've ran into people that don't even like the Beatles, and they can't stand that version. I don't say Happy Birthday. Everyone wants to sing Happy Birthday. You will be the hero if you could play Happy Birthday. I don't care if you remember Slayer or Freebird. Play Happy Birthday. And you know how many times I've been in situations, the wife would say, it's my husband's birthday, or the husband said, it's my wife's birthday, you know? And then you win them over, and they combine to tip you a $50 bill or something. Yeah, handle hecklers. Yeah, oh yeah, they really take it. Well, see, I wouldn't mind doing that, but some of these people, they say, yeah, dude, I'll take it, then they're all drunk, and then they drop it. Sorry, dude, you know? So it's like, okay, I guess one way is that will save your gear, so they don't touch your gear, and don't ask them to come up and sing, because you guys saw that the video's still up there where we had the guy come up and sing. You know what I mean? Tell them to dance. Hey, if I gotta play this song, I don't care what it is, I want to see you dance. If you stop dancing, I stop playing the song. Is that a deal? Chances are they won't do it. Oh yeah, I'll do it. And then you start playing it, and then they stop, they don't come out and dance and say, well, sorry, that's the agreement. You know? Then you go on to the next song. It's very tough, man, when you gotta deal with this. Again, expect the unexpected, right? Because they come out of nowhere. But part of the unexpected, let's see, just ask them when the next show is. That's it. Yeah. Or we would ask them, if you want to write it down and if we could put it in our playlist. My vocalist, he works full time. Because I'm going to tell you something, guys. As a musician, you can make good money. Okay, but it's so the income is so variable. It's not stable. Sometimes you make a good income, sometimes you don't. Sometimes there's a budget issue, you know. So um, that's why I always suggest people, if you could get a backup system, do it. This is your baby. This is what you want to do. Have that money, have that nice cushion, that financial cushion there. Even if someone says they're going to float the boat for you, they could have all the good intention in the world, and they could be really good people that are not out to rip you off. But if something happens in their life, in their family, or in their business, that something happens. Oh, the house gigs. Oh, at Dana, we used to do house gigs.
Yeah.
We used to do a lot. I call them the mini mansion gigs because they'd be these huge homes. We done for the Cavalcade homes because we were also in the construction field. That I'm gonna tell you something, guys. We funded all of our road shows, and a lot of it is because we had the construction companies and we had employees, and we were able to do this. And I remember playing with sheet metal cuts on my fingers, man. You know. Clubs need a person to take care of. They do. They do. You know? They really do. How many of you guys have played in clubs with multiple bands? Oh, the big house band. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we've done that as well. When I was in this top 40 band, especially, we'd be booked at a club for like a month straight. But back in the 80s, we were doing 5 to 6 sets a night, 5 to 6 nights a week. So it's like, man. And I could tell, some of the staff are like, they kind of get tired of it. Well, of course. They're hearing the same thing kind of over and over and over. And we never had a set list. We would go right off of what we would see with the audience. That's kind of like what we do now. We try to read the audience and go right off of that. Just try to make it as spontaneous as possible. But yeah, I've done those type of house gigs as well as playing in houses where people say, yeah, big dance clubs. Yep. The whole top 40 circuit. Back in 1987 to 1988, almost into 1989. I mean, we were getting burned out, man. It was unbelievable. Oh, when the bar and the Legion, yeah. Dan Sullivan says he's got his brother that does 2 different rotating house bands. Were one's within the bars and then with the American Legions, the AmVets, the Moose Lodges, senior centers. We've done a lot of senior centers in the afternoon. Again, because I could do a lot of different styles. And you'd be surprised. A lot of these seniors, they don't want to hear Frank Sinatra again. Some of them do, but some of them don't. You start whipping out the electric guitar, and now we're talking. And it's really interesting with the seniors. You start talking with these people, and you start hearing their history, their background, and wow. We'll take any gig almost as long as it's not a freebie. Oh, how about it, Dan? He's playing every weekend in a wedding band for 4 years. Oh, guitar hack, yep. Unless it's a cause we support. Yeah, Dan. Yeah. I'm glad you guys are saying all this because these are situations I've been in. Wedding bands, wedding gigs and bands, corporate events, private parties, being the house band at a place. This restaurant I play at, now we do every other Friday, because at least for the slow season, because down here in Florida, man, it gets slow. Mr. Showman Blues he could testify to that. He lives down here in Naples, and it gets slow. So they cannot afford to pay you every week and what you want every week, And you gotta give and take. Sitting busking next summer. I'm so glad you said that, Michael B. That was one of my gigs at the Bristol Renaissance Fair as a busker. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because all these types of avenues that we have as musicians, they are the ones that are like down here, and then the making it, getting signed, going on a tour is always primary in the minds of virtually everybody, including manufacturers. And manufacturers need to understand where they're making the most money on their selling their products, the guitars, the pedals, is from the average Joe, and I want to say average because a lot of the average Joes are great musicians, not just good musicians, they're great musicians because of the elements that they are in every single day. Okay? The manufacturers need to see this because it's not the superstar that's going to be buying the gear, it's you guys out there that's buying the gear. If I were into business, and I'm going to touch on this busking thing real quick, but if I was a manufacturer, honestly, I've only been to one NAMM show. My wife's been to quite a few NAMM shows in Anaheim, California, because she had a sound company, and we're also designing custom-made speakers. Some of their speakers are at Epcot Center. Now, this is back in the late 80s. Yeah, it was the late 80s, right, Deb? Yeah, late 80s. And she also designed the custom speakers to go out to California for a performance for the band Wasp. So she's met Mr. Peavy, Mr. Hartley Peavy. She's met his late wife. She's got the pictures and all that. If I was a manufacturer, I'd make gear that is practical, that is strong, that could withstand the elements, that I know for a fact that's easy for the average person to buy, not a gazillion dollars. And I'm not trying to knock anybody that's putting a lot of their heart and soul into that. Let them do what they want, and that's fine. If I was in that situation, I would also try to come out with a brand that would be for the average Joe. Mr. Peavy, what he done over the years, he knew about the hardworking musician. And his company has survived and thrived. And no one in the 1980s would ever guess that a Peavy amp would be more favored for heavy metal music over the Marshall. Back in the 80s, you'd be like, no freaking way, man. Marshall's the way to go. And then, Mesa Boogie. Not a Peavy, but the 5150 and which is now the 6505, those amps, man, they crank. So I would make a product that the average Joe could buy, and I don't think I'd take it to the NAMM show. To business. That's what the NAMM show is, and I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying you don't run into the stars. I remember playing with, doing a little jam session with Adrian Vandenberg from Whitesnake, and meeting Willie, from the bass player from David Letterman's band, and all these other people. Tommy Tedesco. I think I met Jim Hall. Oh, this Jim Hall was a few other guys. I mean, it was a while back. And all that's nice, but if I'm a manufacturer, they're not paying my bills, right? I'm there to make money. I go to the guitar shows, which I know a consumer could buy right there. I could get rid of my inventory that's right there, and I could walk away with money, as opposed to I got a booth with a gazillion guitars. Now I got to take the gazillion guitars back with me on a plane or drive. It's very expensive. Now, so I didn't mean to go on a tangent about that, but that's what I would do. Think about the consumer, because they're the ones that's going to float your boat. Now, here's something with the busking. I know I've seen this, and I couldn't find this. Maybe it got taken down. I don't know. Mine was the Soda Pop 79, yeah. Oh, the T15, yes. Sonya, the PVT15, yep. I have an original Trans Tube Bandit, the first one that came out. I think I bought it in 1996. But I used to have a PV Special 130. I had about 2 or 3 of those doing in my stupid guitar trading. Then I had the PV Special 150, which I should have kept that because that's rare back in the 80s and late 80s and all that. But so yeah, the busking. I saw a video, and I want you guys to think something about with the busking. Here's something really unique with busking. How many of you guys have tried to go down to the local area and get a gig, and they play games with you? You know what I mean? You send them the demo, you send them a video, you go back, and then they never call back, right? They play the game. Now, not everyone. See, the people that won't play the game will be the ones that be straight up forward and honest with you. That's why I like meeting with these people in person. And I will literally sit down with them and ask them simple yes or no. And I'll do it in a very respectful way. But when they start looking up at the ceiling and they scratch their armpit, just answer the question. Because they're wasting my time. Because the more time I'm sitting there trying to get a gig at their place, I could be down to another place, right? And I don't have to put on this big persona to try to impress them. Because, see, some of these people, the person that owns the place, they don't know if they want to like your music or not. But what about their customers? I've been in a situation where their customers asked me when I was going to be back. I got hired for a private event, and their customers, that had nothing to do with this private event, was asking when I'd come back. And then I tell the manager, and I was trying to call the club owner, and the club owner is dodging me because now he's got responsibility, so he dodges the bullet. And the manager, you know, she's playing games with me, and she's getting rude, and I'm catching her lying to me and being rude, and that's what pissed me off. And of course I gave him a bad review. And as soon as I sent on my phone the reason why I gave him a bad review, because they're lying, and you know, you don't have to give me the gig, that's fine. Just tell me. How hard is that? Dave, I'm sorry, I don't think your music will work out too well here. Maybe, you know, down the road, but not right now. Okay, you're being honest. But don't play games with me. Well, we don't have this. We only have bands. No, we only do duos. No, we don't have a solo. No, we only... BS. Be straightforward. I'm not going to kiss their ass and wipe their ass for them to get a gig. Are you kidding me? They're stuck to that brick and mortar building. I'm transient. I go wherever I want. They are stuck. So I gave the guy a bad review. And as soon as I hit send, the guy's calling my wife. I got a bad review and I'm trying to reach out to you guys. My wife says, no, you never tried to reach out to us. If Dave gave you that review, it's because maybe you deserve it. Then Deb calls me, Dave, you better call this guy because he's crying, he's peeing his pants. You know, we need the tissues and we need some diaper wipies. We need to give him a pacifier because, you know, the owner is hitting the panic button because he got a bad review. I called this guy and I'm talking with him and I'm explaining to you why the busking just totally annihilates all these people. And he's over there trying to be nice, and then he's more concerned he got a bad review. And I said, look, I didn't give you the bad review because you didn't give me the gig. That's fine. You do not have to give me the gig. It's the lying I'm catching your manager, your GM, and being rude. That's why you got the bad review. Now, don't you think that maybe you should say, well, okay, maybe I need to talk to my GM to let her know, don't be rude to these people, because, you see, these are people that are down here. They got friends that come down here. That means there's going to be customers. That means my cash register is going to ring. I have a potential of making money off of this guy. So maybe I shouldn't be rude to this guy. I mean, that makes sense, right? You're in business to make money, so why do you want to turn potential customers away, right? Real simple. It's almost like I got to draw stick figures for some of these people. I don't understand it. I'm not college educated. I'm just street smart. That's it. I don't know everything. But for this guy to get like this, and he's pouting and crying, I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? And I said to him, I said, the reason why I like to deal with the owners, because he's saying, I like to talk with people. I said, I do too. But every time I call you, you're dodging me. I don't understand this. I'm not going to cry and wet the bed if you say, I'm not going to give you a gig, I don't like your music. That's fine. You're more important. You are more, entitled to your opinion. Just be straightforward. That's all. So he tells me he likes to talk to people. I say I do too, because I like talking with the owners, preferably in person, because they're the ones that sign the check. Well, he says like this, well, I don't know. I said, no. If you're the owner, you're responsible. I don't care if you give it to this third party, that fourth party. It's your signature. You are the owner. That is your facility. You could fire your GM. You could fire your cooks. You own that place. It's your money. How hard is this? I don't understand this. What happened with common sense? Did they fall on their head and did it fall out of their brains? See, people want to have the title, but they don't want the responsibility. And that's what was going on with this guy. So we kind of talked, and I didn't, bust his nuts too far. But I wasn't letting him push me around either. You can't. I did not leave Illinois to come down here to get shoved around the way and lied to the way this things was happening back up there. No freaking way, man. No freaking way. I'll be polite. I'll be nice, but don't think I'm a doormat, because I'm not. That's the only reason why I latch out, if you ever notice that. And it's not that I don't get my way. No. It's I want people to be straightforward and honest. That's it. It's okay. You do not have to like what I do. That's fine, but just don't lie. So now here comes in the play where busking comes in. And I saw this video, and I can't remember, there were several documentaries on this. This guy makes this comment. He says, you know what's nice about being a busker? I don't have to ever call a club owner and wait for a phone call back so that I could get the gig there. And really, all I want to do is, yeah, I'd like to play for the club owner, and yeah, I'd like to respect the facility, and I'm the same way. But he says, but I want to play for the people because, see, they're the ones that's going to ultimately be bringing in the money that where I could, make money. So if I could cut out my middleman, and my middleman is that club owner that I call, I'm on my 10th phone call to find out if he's going to hire me this year or next year. You see what I mean? Time goes by, and every month we have bills to pay. You see what's happening? And every time you go to buy something, this costs money. You're spending more money than you're making money back. And this guy says, you know what, screw this. I'll go out to the streets. I might have to get the permits, do all what's required. I get my permit, I put my tip buck out there. I get some people walk by, they call me a beggar, and I'm stupid, and I'm poor, and I'm lazy, and all this that. You're absolutely right. I'm no good, I'm a nothing. That's fine. Then I get the other people that I'm really focused on. They're the ones that supported me. I thank them. I play my heart out for them. I walk, I come home, I got money. Sometimes I got more money than others. But guess what, guys? If a person busts every single day, and if a person is interested, maybe you should try this, or every other day, depending on your schedule, gauge this. See how much money you make by doing your busking. Let's try this in a month. If you do this in a month's time, right? See what your monthly income is on just busking. Now, versus your monthly income on gigging. Okay? If it comes out even, okay, that's fine. But always keep in mind, you will still have to make those phone calls for newer places to play at. Sometimes people say, oh yeah, I know you guys are great. And we have that situation. People call us to do the gigs. But then I've also ran into people that, it's like it's so hard to get them to open up their ears, And those are people after a while. It's like, okay, after 3 strikes, you're out. That's it, And I don't mention any names. And I don't fault them. They don't have to like what I'm doing, and that's fine. But if their own customers are liking what I'm doing, this is where they make the mistake. And this is exactly even a bigger mistake. If I'm playing in an area where their restaurant is, like say their restaurant's over here, and another rivaling restaurant is over here, but the rivaling restaurant says, oh, we tried having performers, it doesn't work, we have a sports bar. You know what kind of bands we have? We have a gazillion. Oh, Dry Heat, my gig tonight is at the Blue Monkey, 8 to 11:30 Eastern Time, and that's in Naples, Florida. I almost said Naperville, Illinois. It's in Florida. And we'll do the live streaming. Okay, so now here's the main restaurant over here that's so biased. They never give anyone, I call them the growth chokers, They never give anyone an opportunity, except their friends. And some of their friends' band, maybe they're burnt out, they had a long week and they're tired and they even look like they're not even into it. And I'm sure you guys seen that situation. Okay? So that's this club over here. The other club over here says, no, we just have sports bar, we have all these TVs, we don't have any bands. But then you have this area and they could see each other, let's say. There's places I like this down here. So you play in the lot in the middle. And the talent says, down the hell, you don't. Let's see, I'm sorry guys. A lot of bars, I'm sorry about this guys. A lot of bars will only take 2 agents, not direct. Yeah, I've dealt with that. But sometimes down here in Florida, or at least Southwest Florida, a lot of times it's the owners that want to do the dealing with the bands because maybe they had bad situations with the middleman, and they're paying the middleman, and the middleman's not giving any, not giving them any business. And they figure, why should I pay this guy when I got a band member coming up to ask me anyway, and I have to tell them, no, you talk to so-and-so, but yet they're already talking to me. So, hell with it, I'll just cut out the middleman. But you're right. There's a lot of places that they're just too busy. They have their overhead. And to be fair about it, this is something I do look at. Okay? So I always give three chances. And it doesn't mean if strike 3, you're out, period. If they're polite and I can understand where they're coming from, then maybe down the road. And when I make my follow-up calls, I don't call 3 days in a row. I give maybe a week or 2. I give always in between time. So they know I'm still interested in their place, respecting them. But it's when they want to show that disrespect and lying and all that crap, that's when I say, you're done. Dead to me. You don't even exist. I will never do business with you. I will never. I don't care. You could chase me down the road in slow season. Dave, we got a 3-for-1. That's fine. Give it to somebody else. Not interested. You be fair to us musicians. I'm not saying you kiss my butt, but what I'm saying, you be fair. That's all I ask. Real simple. Very, very simple. I will understand your situation. I will respect your situation. I will play. I don't care if you got to dive. I will play like it's the Coliseum, because I just love to play. But don't BS me. Is it that difficult? Right? So, with the busking. So now you come in the middle and you're playing in the area, and you got the permission from the city. They can say, yeah, go ahead, just go for it. Now, you come up with an idea that, remember the restaurant club here that was so biased and rude to you, didn't want to give you an opportunity? And then here's the other club that they're just not hiring. Now you ask for this club, hey, you guys got any drink specials, food specials? We'll put them out. As you were playing, when people are walking by, hey, Mr. Guitar Player, do you know of a good restaurant? Where should I go? Well, this place has. Don't say anything bad about the other place. Don't do that. Don't say anything. Don't even mention their name. That's the best thing. Because when the people come by and they say, oh, this guy's he's got some menus. Even though that this restaurant over here is not hiring, they were honest with you and they were polite to you. So now maybe in the future, they'll start opening up their doors, right, to having performance. And if you show that much interest and respect to them, and you got even their flyers, a little menu or something for the tourists, they see that. Like, hey, now the restaurant that was bad over here to you, they see everyone going over there, and they get mad or they cry but they did it to themselves. You see, they did it to themselves, and you're still making money. Now, whether that's a good thing to do, I really don't know, but it's fair. Everything's fair game in business, guys. Everything is. I know it almost sounds like I rip on these places. I just don't like the unfairness. That's the only thing I don't like. I think people need to kind of wake up and say, okay, everyone has a bad day. Everyone's tight for the bucks. Lay your cards down on the table. When I go to these places, I tell them what our price is when they ask. Our price is on our website. I let Deb do all that because she's smarter than me at that. But I will tell them, we'll work with your budget because we understand we do not want to see places go out of business. We'll work with your budget. Chances are they like that. And if they give you business and volume, then you can cut them a break because they're giving you business and volume. There are a lot of good places. There are more good places than there are bad, but the bad places are the ones that we always hear of. And I've seen plenty of things said, and even on Craigslist about some places down there. Like, ain't gonna happen to me because I ain't gonna deal with those people. Yeah, but it's the hot spot. It's the hot spot. I don't care how hot a hot spot it is. If they're gonna try to make a fool out of me, rip me off, make me beg, one place, even if it's the hottest place in town, is a brick and mortar building, and they're stuck there. And if you guys ever done any traveling, even in your own town, there's other places you could go to. You could build up your clientele, stay away from the negativity. That's all it's gonna do is kind of drag you down. Just kind of stay away from it and just move forward, right? So these are all the expect the unexpecteds. They happen, but you just move forward, right? I usually, getting back to my little Digitech pedal, I run it right into the Power PA speaker. My output on my Digitech, I have it for mixer. If you have an RP series pedal, your output settings could be either amplifier or mixer. I always take it out to the mixer because it makes the overdrives and distortion sound that much more smoother. The only thing this thing doesn't have is batteries. That's why I like battery powered stuff, so that if you have to busk, slap batteries in, you're good to go. But really, some places you do have to have a license, so you have to call that town, find out how much the license is, and if they'll allow it. Some places you don't have to have a license, but you have to be only in certain areas. So contact the city hall, find out who you need to talk to about doing the busking. But I'll tell you guys, there's a girl in Australia. I think her name is Samantha Edge. She has a her one own channel called My Life as a Busker or something like that. And she plays keyboards and she sings and all that. And sometimes she makes good money, sometimes she doesn't. But it seems that she's always making something. She's always making money, you know. So those are options. And what is nice with the Roland products is that you can slap AA batteries in. So I do have a couple of Roland RC pedals, looping pedals. The RC20, which came out in early 2000. The RC20 XL, which came out 2004 or 2003, but I bought it in 2004. So I can slap double A's in there. I think it takes 6 double A's. I do have a Boss ME70 pedal that'll take about 8 AA batteries. I get about maybe 6 hours out of these things. I have 2 Roland battery-powered PA speakers. One's a small one, the KC110. That takes 8 AA's. I have a larger one that is called the BA330. I think it's 30. They said it was 300 watts, but I think that was a misprint. But I think it's really only 30 watts. But it's pretty loud. It'll run 11 hours out of 8 AA batteries. So if I had to do any of the busking, I could slap all my batteries in these. You know, take my little Stanley tool cart, you know, toolbox out, because I could fit all my gear in there. Take it out, set up shop, put out a tip jar, and start playing away. And sometimes the first time you do it, it might seem a little bit odd, you know. It almost looks, you get people that want to look down at you. Don't let people, just ignore it. But, you know, don't say anything rude to them. But if they say something rude to you, just say, well, no, I'm just out here doing my thing, and you know, it's one way I could make income, or I just really like to do it. If you want to put something in, it's fine. If not, you don't have to. That's fine. You know, so this way it lets them know you're not out there. You're not out there begging for them, begging for money. You're out there to network your music. That's one. I think that'd be a smart way of doing it. You'd say to these people, I'm out here to network my music with the general public. I couldn't get a gig down so and so. I've had people say to me, how come you're not playing at this place? How come you're not here? How come you're not on a big stage? Well, talk with those people. Maybe they don't want me. That's fine. I'm not gonna cry about it. I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna play because I love to play. It's a gift from God. He could take it away from me. No one else can, you know. And then let the crybabies do what they want, you know. And sometimes the people that are like that, then they kind of see the light of day. Then they start changing. Then they become more and more friendly. It's like, okay, well, all right, now we can do business, you know. So the unexpected, guys, is not just all negativity. Okay. Your car could break down. You need maintenance. You gotta have that money aside. But expect the unexpected. Now you could get tips that are, you know, $100. I remember a time we got $200, two $100 bills, plus all the other tips and our pay. You know, these are nice, pleasant, unexpected things that happen, and it's great. You know, one thing I like to look at is when we play music, you're sharing. You're trying to make their life happy, you know, whether you're jamming your heart out or not, you're shredding away, draw the attention to yourself, okay, you know, you work hard for it, but always do it where it inspires people. When I do this, I like to inspire the way I was inspired, you know, be as good as the people that inspired me, but I know I'm not going to be like them, but I'll be as good as they are, you know, because here's another thing, guys, when you go out in the professional world, those are your competitors. Your your guitar heroes, they will become your competitors because now you're competing on that level. You got to be as good as them, and the only way I'd say better is you're doing something different, so that crowd that likes them is also going to like you, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's something that you have to think about because it is a reality. It's like, okay, a car manufacturer comes out, a new one, and they get their inspiration from another manufacturer they looked up to. Those were the people that were inspired them. Now they come out, now it's like, okay, now they kind of are competitors, you know, in a friendly way, but the reality is they are competitors, you know. So, you know, that's one way of looking at it, but do it in a nice, friendly way. But try to play as good as those people, you know, because no matter how close you get, if you're in a tribute band and you sound almost, I always say you sound almost just like them. because you're never going to sound just like them. You will get dangerously close. But the artists themselves will not get exactly to the recording. They'll get dangerously close. Because that recording was that moment in time. What they're doing on stage live is that moment in time. There's variables, you know. So if you play as good as those people, life's wonderful, right? Now I do know that they make Saniel about 10 years ago, I think, had a little power pack that could power your pedals, even if they didn't have batteries. And I know there's other products that's coming out because the Tone King was showing them quite a few weeks back, or maybe a couple months back. They're like self-contained, almost like a capacitor, you know, to power up your pedals. But you got to be careful. You got to watch your milliamps. They got to kind of match, because after a while they'll heat up. And this, I showed this on my Digitech. Okay, the new Digitech products have this adapter. Okay, but this type of adapter will not fit in the older version of the Jamman stereo. You have to get the one that came with that. Just this little opening, this little thing is a little bit too thick. It won't go in there. So kind of keep that in mind. And expect the unexpected. When a company goes out of business, oh crap, now what do I do? What's your backup system? Always have that backup system, guys. So yeah, we will be doing a couple. I will be doing a couple new originals and new songs tonight, and we'll be from 8 to 11:30 Eastern Time. Most likely we'll live stream it. We'll live stream our ride coming back. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I didn't realize I went over a little bit. Sometimes I go talking. I'm sorry, guys. You know, just so much comes to my mind. You know, where is your gig tonight and what time? Oh, Dry Heat. My gig tonight is at the Blue Monkey in Naples, Florida. It's going to be from 8 to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I want to see if I could touch on a couple other chats there. Okay. Oh, our gigs. Oh, I think Dimebag Daryl squeal lesson. Yeah. Or like what they Zach Wild the squealing. Play my strat. I'm back. R2 R3. That's a nice strat you got there, man. Yeah. You know what? Here, the squeals, the pinched harmonics. Okay. I'll show this on other like how-to videos and tech talking. But basically, I had a guitar student that his teacher, and I'm not knocking, his teacher was showing him good stuff. His teacher was showing him, you know, how to do a pinch harmonic. You know, okay, sorry guys. So his teacher was showing him how to do the pinch harmonic squeal thing on the third string. I said, well, you got harmonics through here, because they're always good to, even on an acoustic guitar. I said, but if you want to get used to this, excuse me guys, go down your low E string. All you're doing, yeah, ZZ Top, yep. Yep. Well, that's actually in the 70s, that's what we first heard it from, you know. Or one of the first ways we heard it from. But really, your harmonics, I've seen classical guitarists do this, and acoustic guitars, where it's really, I'll watch this a second. So, if you have these notes here, it's really above. Okay, I got a situation going on here. Okay, so it's really right above that fret wire. So I'm taking my middle finger, hitting the string, and just lightly touching with my index finger. Okay, so it's no different than when you do harmonic over the 12th fret. But you have harmonics that continue up. So what's happening is the note that you play here harmonically is continuing down here. It's just a matter of really finding it, you know. Okay, so when I hit the pick, as soon as I hit the pick, the flesh of my thumb touches right above there. That's what's happening. they call it a pinched harmonica because it looks like you're pinching the strings, but you're actually not. You're just hitting it. And then I add a little vibrato. And the more overdrive or distortion you have, the more it comes out. Now, before I wrap things up, I want to ask anybody if this makes sense to you, and if anyone knows this. It was yesterday. We were at the Edison Ford Winter Vacation House. They have those two houses are down here in Fort Myers because Thomas Edison and Henry Ford would come down here, and they had their labs and everything. It was like beautiful. So we were going through the museum and some of Edison's inventions. I forget how many patents he had. He had a shitload. Excuse me, guys. He had, it was called the voice writer. You know, it came out in the 50s. Everyone have a great one. But before I leave, he had this thing called the Ediphone. And I'm looking at the way it's spelled. And I want to say this came out, maybe in the 20s. And I know the guitar company, Epiphone, goes back a lot further, at least in the 30s. Because they did have some for the big band jazz, some of them they would play. So I'm wondering if Epiphone got their name by looking at the Ediphone, and if they took that D, because it was an uppercase E, lowercase d, Ediphone. Flip that D over, you got a P. That sounds crazy, but I'm wondering if that's where Epiphone got their name from. From that whole time era. If you guys ever get a chance to go through any of Edison's the museums or anything like that, check it out because you're gonna see. It's kind of mind blowing how things were way back in the the late 1800s, and what we have now compared to what they had then. So, anyways, my friends, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Again, I apologize for some of my blabbing. Maybe in my next videos I'll do more talking and blabbing, but I just sometimes get things to share. Remember, if you get a chance to go out there and busk, go ahead and give it a shot. You'd be surprised, man. You'd be real surprised. And, always hold the doors of opportunity open for those people. Don't be a growth choker, Always desire to inspire, keep everything real. Appreciate what you have. It's all a gift from God. It could be taken away from you, my friends. And until tonight, you guys have a great afternoon. Stay safe. And God bless you, my friends. Rock and roll. Take care now. Bye-bye.